my name is Sonya Marie, and I am a new travel blogger. I've been traveling for about 10 years and been to about 42 countries. I think that's the number that's right. And everyone has been telling me for years that I should share how I travel and my adventures when I do travel with the world. So about a couple weeks ago, I decided to go on a solo trip, my first solo trip. And in doing so, I decided if I were able to capture the footage and the videos and things to create a video blog of my trip, I would become a blogger. Well, I've returned and it was simply amazing, and I'm now officially a blogger. You are participating in my first video. I am now officially the Exuberant Traveler. Of course, I had to figure out how to become a blogger, and I've done so over the last couple of weeks, and I've even coined myself as the Exuberant Traveler because I get so excited about traveling and so energized when it comes time for me to tell someone about my trips. So this trip was to Europe. It was to 4 countries, 7 days, and because I'm a thrifty bargain kind of traveler, it was my goal to have the trip come under $3,000. And guess what? It did. This is how my adventure started. Hey, my name is Sonya, and I am an avid traveler. I started traveling about 5 or 10 years ago. I've been to about 40 countries with friends and family, and I'm off for my first solo trip today. And I'm so excited, and I can't wait. Going off to Europe, about to visit 4 countries. And when I get back, I'm considering doing travel videos or blogs or something just to share my love and passion for traveling. And wish me luck. I'm going to Norway, Finland, Sweden, and Denmark. And when I get back, we'll see if it's worth me doing some videos. Hopefully it is, to share. It is my goal to travel to about 75 to 100 countries before I am no longer on this planet. So this is country number 43 through 45, 46, 47. And again, wish me luck. Hopefully I'll be talking to you soon. Bye. Well, as you can see, here I am. The trip was fantastic. I had a really, really good time. So now I want to share with the world my adventures, some in the past, but definitely the ones going forward. The trip was amazing. I was able to take this trip to 4 countries in 7 days for under $3,000. And let me tell you how it all got started. Google, as some of you guys know, has a Google Flights portion of its website. It allows you to shop around and search for the cheapest destinations to fly in the world at ease. I was lucky enough to find a trip for $450 to Denmark, Copenhagen, round trip. That was the start of my trip. Now I had to decide, how do I back this in and have it be economical, and also being by myself was a new adventure for me. Now, I've been on a lot of trips, and each time I established myself a pretty firm budget and like to stick to it. Depending upon who I'm traveling with, I'll decide whether it's going to be a luxury trip or a budget trip. This was going to be my first solo trip, and I wanted it to be fantastic. So I started thinking, how could I make it be affordable but still luxurious? And I found a way. American Express Platinum has some great deals that allow travelers who don't have a lot of capital or money to spend towards their vacations, but really want to have some fun. I also plan to do a video that really delves into American Express and how it has benefited me in my travels, but I'll just allude to some of the savings that I was able to get on this trip. The biggest portion is, let's say you book a 5-star hotel that's like $250 a night. Because I was only staying 7 days, I was staying 2 days in 3 of the places and 1 day in the other. So if you can imagine, $250 twice, $500 per stay for the 2-night stays. American Express gives you $100 back that can be utilized at the hotel, free breakfast for 2 days, in addition to some upgrading perks and sometimes a nice little treat for you in your room. Once you do all that calculations, your trip gets nice and luxurious. It is how I'm able to go on these trips and kind of finagle luxury at an affordable cost that my friends and family have told me that I'm very exuberant. And that's how I came up with the name as Exuberant Traveler. So come on with me as I show you the adventures I had in those 7 days for under $3,000 and managed to stay in a floating hotel and 3 5-star hotels that brought me all the luxury and the pampering and the fun that I could possibly want to experience. Just like every trip I've ever taken, before I went, I did some basic research, finding out the things that the average tourist wants to see in those areas. But I also found those special little things that I want to see that makes my vacation unique and different from the average person. I went ahead and booked trains between each country and one flight from Oslo, Norway to Helsinki, Finland, and then all the little details inside. I figure I'd just kind of wing it this time because I was by myself. All I knew is that I wasn't going to exceed $3,000. So if you're anything like me, you appreciate the finer things in life. I know I do. When I got the American Express Platinum card, and no, I'm not this big person on motivating you to get one particular card or the another, I'm just talking about the personal experiences I've had with it and enjoyed. There's nothing like showing up to the airport and being able to get through the lines very quickly. Before you know it, where are you at? You're sitting in a nice lounge having a fantastic cocktail. Made it to the Centurion Lounge elevator. I'm so excited, so thirsty, so hungry, so ready to get this solo travel on. That is how my trip started. Through my card benefits, I'm a global entry traveler with TSA and clear. So I showed up at the airport. Within 7.5 minutes, I was on my way to the American Express Centurion Lounge. Within 15 minutes, I had a beverage in my hand. I was sitting back and relaxing, waiting for my flight. Everything was fantastic. Got on the plane. I had a coach ticket, but that particular airline, the space wasn't too bad. Everything was fantastic. Before you know it, direct flight, I landed in Copenhagen, Denmark. So I was only scheduled to stay in Copenhagen for 1 day. So I knew once I got there, I had to get to running and having all this fun. So I got to the airport, went through all the checkout process, which was pretty smooth. Was no problem, quick line. Before you know it, I was out in 5 minutes. I decided to take public transportation to save money to get to my hotel. I thought about picking a 5-star hotel for Copenhagen, but I was only going to be there for a short period of time. So I looked around to try to find something kind of unique, and I did. A hotel called CPH was right on the waterfront. It was like a water boat with maybe 10 or 15 rooms to it. But the beautiful part is it had a front glass, or rather one of the walls in your room was completely glass, allowing you to see the lake. Now I'm sure there's all kind of information on the internet about each and every city that I'm going to talk about today. So I'm not going to go and show you, clips or videos of every building that you can see while you're there. But I am going to talk about a few of the things that I think are an absolute must while you're there. There were 3 highlights of this trip for me. Go to see the Little Mermaid. I know it sounds kind of funny, but she's actually cute. Worth the visit. Really tiny, but worth seeing. I also looked for a restaurant that was kind of different than the average restaurant. I knew I didn't want to spend any money, or rather a little bit of money. I went to this restaurant called Mad Glad. It was kind of like a cafeteria style, really tiny, but for $15 US, you got a full meal, which included a beverage, alcoholic if you wanted it to be, and a dessert. It was kind of like a communal kind of place where once you were done, you had to wash your own dishes. No, just kidding. You had to bust your own table and put all the dishes back where they belong, which is kind of cute because I think that's how they saved on money on giving such amazing food. On the way back from that, I had Googled, like I do in most cities that I go to, where I could find a fantastic bar to have me a cocktail. I found this small little cozy cute bar called Balderdash.
And you're not quite done yet, okay? Enjoy.
I had a couple amazingly tasty beverages and walked myself back to my hotel. My little experience in Copenhagen was fantastic. Totally worth coming back to the city, but I, in a short period of time, got the opportunity to see a lot. But now it's time to go back to my hotel. I had spent less than $100 for the day, and that was fantastic. Well within my budget, and was having a great time. Stop number 2 was Stockholm, Sweden. The next morning I had a train that would take me to my next city, and boy was I excited to get there. So the next morning when I woke up, that's when a little bit of fun happened. Something I didn't know, and you may not know either. In Copenhagen, the train stations run a little bit different. I arrived at my train station that morning 30 minutes early, only to find out that in Copenhagen, this particular train, if you were the only passenger to get on with that train, apparently it's okay for them to skip that train station, and they did. I had to hop on a train quick. Didn't know what I was doing, didn't quite get where I was going, to get to the next train station to make sure that I could get to Stockholm. Luckily, I got on, asked a few passengers who didn't really speak English if I was going in the right direction, and I was. And sometimes in life, bad things happen for good reasons. I got off that train and grabbed a bite to eat at one of the best train stations I've ever been to. And I would tell everybody to make the same mistake. Go get that snack. Go get those treats. The train station is walkable to this hotel that I stayed at. I stayed at the @6 5-star hotel, and it was amazing. Fantastic, spectacular, beautiful, luxurious, lovely. Whatever word you want to choose to describe it, it was that. As soon as I checked in the hotel, they already knew that I was an American Express Platinum, fine hotel, club person. They immediately treated me like I was royalty, greeted me with a smile, started telling me about the benefits of my travel, started telling me how I was going to get $100 credit and free breakfast, and that my room had been upgraded because of the type of travel I had decided to do. That was amazing. The room was gorgeous. See for yourself. I knew I only had 2 days in the city, so I immediately changed my clothes and started sightseeing. Again, I will tell you about a few of the highlights. First highlight was something interesting. The Nobel Peace Prize Museum that they have in Stockholm has a small cafe inside of it. When I did my research, I found out if you turn the chairs upside down in that cafe, they were signed and little notes, etc., by previous Nobel Peace Prize winners. That was great. They were producing something that day, so the cafe was closed, but I was able to go in and turn a chair over, and yes, that was there. It was so fantastic to be able to see. The next location I went to that day was a restaurant that I had Googled for having this Viking kind of rustic kind of feel, and it did. As soon as I stepped into it, the ambiance was amazing. You felt like you had stepped back in time, and they had group dining. So the fact that I was by myself didn't matter. They set me at a table, the whole establishment filled up. I had a great dining experience, and it really wasn't that expensive.
From the state of sunshine and the elderly, I want you to welcome from Florida, Finland, Lucy, Josue, and Lil. Show them how we welcome our guests.
So basically, my first day in Stockholm was fantastic. I saw lots of sights. Most of them were free. Churches, museums, buildings that you could see from inside and sometimes out with no cost whatsoever. That was another cost savings. The city itself was absolutely beautiful. Now it was time to go back to my hotel, and I did. And it was luxurious, like I said before. I climbed into this comfy bed. They had left me chocolates and a beverage. Everything was going perfectly. I absolutely loved this location. Time to go have breakfast before my second day in Stockholm. This hotel, let me just tell you, had a fantastic breakfast. There was literally nothing, when I say nothing, that I could have asked for to be in that breakfast that wasn't there. And immediately I realized how that was going to be a cost savings to me. I ate so much, I knew I would not have to eat lunch. I set out walking again. That city as well, most things were within a 30 or 40 minute proximity from the hotel. A lot of these 5-star hotels have fantastic locations to them. I set out for a day and saw a number of fantastic sights. The highlight of the day was a few of them. The Vasa Museum, don't miss it. That ship that they have restored is beautiful, stunning. The photography I was able to get of that is literally something I probably want to put on my walls. I think it was no more than $15 or $20 to get in there and see that masterpiece of a ship that they have discovered and put on display for the world to see. I was so pleased to have been able to see it. After I left there, I realized there were a number of museums and sights to be seen on my way to the ABBA Museum. But before I got there, I ran into something kind of amazing, a spirit museum. When I say spirit, I don't mean spirits, I mean beverages. I had the opportunity to sample some beverages, do like a flight tasting of their vodka and a few other things for only about 20 or 30 US dollars. It was great. Next stop, the Viking Museum. Again, I think it was maybe $15 to get inside of it. Totally worth it. There, I headed to the ABBA Museum. Now let me tell you, if there's something you're gonna do while you're in Stockholm, please go to the ABBA Museum. It was so much fun. I think the best part of it was putting on the headphones and dancing with a bunch of strangers in silence. I even got on stage and lip sang a song that I never thought I would do. It was fun. But again, the most important part of this is most of these venues only charge between $15 and $20 to go inside. Thanks to my American Express Platinum, some good planning, and some great tennis shoes. This day had come to an end, and once again, it was very cost effective. The next morning, third location, Oslo, Norway. I took a train to Oslo, got off pretty close to the downtown area, and did a little check on my map and found out that it was only 25 minutes from the hotel, a 25-minute walk. So I did it. Again, putting my shoes to good use. I was able to see a lot of sights on the way and see the waterfront and the restaurants and whatnot that were going towards my hotel. And let me tell you, if I thought I had a fantastic time at the 6 Hotel, when I arrived in Oslo, Norway, and arrived at the Thief, it's like it just kept getting better and better. This hotel was amazing. And once again, they treated me like I was royalty. As soon as I checked in, they were like, oh, you're an American Express Platinum member. Let me go ahead and show you where your room's gonna be. Let me tell you about your upgrades. Let me tell you about the breakfast. Let me tell you about your benefits. It was a fantastic way to greet a new city and to check into a new hotel. Every city I travel to, depending upon my budget, I'll try to find a Michelin restaurant if I can, some street food if I can. In this city, I did my research and found out there was a chef who was a ramen maker that made amazing ramen. So I decided to go give that a shot. The walk was about 30 minutes, so I did it. I arrived at the restaurant and it did not fail me. It was pretty darn good. I would definitely go back again, and I definitely recommend it to you. And once again, it was budget friendly, only about $20. The beauty, at least to me, of traveling on a budget is you're going to be resourceful. You're going to try to find things you can do that don't cost that much. On the way from walking from the restaurant to my next stop, I found the most amazing street art and spent about a half an hour just admiring the street art all over this particular area. One of the things I like to do is go to the top 50 restaurants and the top 50 bars in the world. So if I'm in a city where I can find one, I will surely try to get to it. And in this city, I found one that was priceless. The venue was nice, the ambiance was great, the bartender was amazing, and I got some of the best drinks I've ever had in my life. Now this is where a little bit of my budget was used, but the average drink, $14 or $15. Not bad for the level of quality that I received. I knew I only had a day after this day in Oslo. So I knew there were some sculptures in a park that I wanted to see. And so I headed over to see them at night. Might not sound like the safest thing, but the city was fine. I walked through the park at night and saw these sculptures against the light and the moon and everything for free again. And they were stunning. Some of the prettiest sculptures I've ever seen in my life. A nice walk home took me through this area that to the corner of my eye, I looked out and saw this amazingly beautiful tree lit up from bottom to top that changed colors every few minutes. And I literally spent 10 or 20 minutes just standing there staring at that tree. It was real close to my hotel, and to my surprise, there were a few more of them. I made my way back to the hotel and again slept in luxury. The hotel bed was so nice. The large window, again, I got a large window that overlooked the waterfront, was beautiful. I left it open, the night light, the moon and everything glistened. I was in heaven. I felt like the rich and famous or something, and I didn't have to pay that much for it. Before, the breakfast at the 6 was to die for in Stockholm. I really had no reason to believe that it could get any better. And guess what? It did. This breakfast place was, I'm speechless. I almost can't even find the words to say how beautiful this breakfast was. Take a look at it for yourself. Hotel, I decided to use my $100 credit for the spa, and I had a great massage. Now I don't know if it was more spectacular because it was almost free, or was it just great? I go with it was just great. The venue was clean, attractive, just friendly and inviting. And then after using the spa facility, I left feeling so relaxed and ready for my day. On this day, my last day in Oslo, I decided to take a ferry boat over to an island to see some beautiful sights. Take a look and see what I saw. But once again, the entry fee was about $20. I think I paid $3 for some homemade bread. Buy the bread. That's all I can say. I think I paid $23 for the whole experience. The boat ride might have been $10 round trip. And here I was about to go see another fantastic part of Oslo. At this point, you can imagine my shoes were kind of worn in, my feet were getting a little tired, but I still wanted to save money and didn't want to get into Ubers or taxis. So I decided to scooter. I hopped on a scooter and spent the rest of the day scootering around Oslo, seeing everything I wanted to see for probably $10 or $20. I decided to go to the Munch Museum and to venture out a little further to a sculpture park. Best decision I made. The sculpture park was free and the Munch Museum was about $10 or $20. That was the best part of that trip. I love the screen painting, and at least I thought there was only one, but I found out there's three. And in that museum, I had the beautiful opportunity to see all three. Then I hopped on that scooter, saw some more sights, headed to the sculpture park, which I would tell you, don't miss. I only had about 45 minutes planned for this park. I wish I had planned more. It has several statues and sculptures that are unique and beautiful, and they're outdoors. A beautiful view of the entire city area, worth seeing, and guess what? It's free. Check it out. So as I wrapped up my last day in Oslo, I went back to the hotel. Yes, back to the luxurious hotel. And decided to have dinner there. The dinner was nice, not too expensive. The highlight of the meal was the dessert they brought to me. It was beautiful. It had a little piece of chocolate on it that had some swirly little art all around it. When the waiter came over, he explained to me that that art on the dessert was a replication of art on the wall. Now that's classy. I couldn't believe it. It tasted amazing. The surface was great. It was aesthetically attractive. And again, affordable. Now, one of the things that I failed to mention that really felt like luxury to me was waking up to a beautiful sunset in that room. It was nothing less than gorgeous. Anyone ever travels to Oslo, I would definitely say that is the hotel to choose. Got up the next morning, again, took my feet and public transportation to the train that took me to the airport and flew to Helsinki, Finland. When I arrived in Helsinki, Finland, there was a taxi for about $25 because this time the airport wasn't close to the city or my hotel. It was a lovely ride. I arrived at my hotel. And just when I thought there wasn't a surprise on the type of luxury that I could experience at a hotel, once again, I was wrong. The hotel I checked into in Helsinki was beautiful. Other hotels I checked in were more modern or contemporary. The Kemp Hotel had an old school vibe to it, but it was gorgeous. As soon as I checked in, it was priceless to me how I was being treated like royalty everywhere I went. They again, when I checked in, noted that I was an American Express Platinum guest, told me about my upgrades, told me about my credit, and then told me that being upgraded to the floor I was upgraded to, I was going to be able to go into the executive lounge. And that from 2 to 6 every day, the executive lounge had free cocktails and free snacks. So I did just that. I changed my clothes quickly. It was almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I knew I only had one day to see the highlights of Helsinki. So I changed my clothes and scurried down to the executive lounge, had some tasty drinks and snacks before I headed out for the day. So, again, I figured scootering was the route. I only had 4 or 5 hours to see this beautiful city, and I knew a scooter could get me where I wanted to go. But 2 things stood out the most. I got the opportunity to see 2 very unique churches. Actually, 3. The first one was a church built into the side of a rock or a side of a hill with rock structure on the inside. It was about $6 to go inside and see it, and I've never seen a ceiling like that before. The other one that was super pretty to me was a small church, a simple church. It was called, I believe, a quiet church. Inside, bare minimum decorations, peaceful as could be, super quiet and free to go in and see. I went into another church, and then I also took the time to go visit their public library that I can't even express how amazing this library looked. But again, to see it all, it was free. I continued on my scooter to see as many sights as I could see in that period of time. Didn't spend $1 for the rest of the afternoon and really got to see some amazing sights. To head back to the hotel. I wanted to spend a little time in this room. You saw it. The room's amazing. There was no reason not to spend some time in this room. I took a bubble bath because they left a little cute ducky in the room that I had to use. They had given me a bottle of wine and some chocolates, and I enjoyed that. So now it was time to go down for dinner. What dinner? My free dinner. The $100 credit that I had covered the cost of my dinner. I had kind of an unorthodox dinner. I decided to have a juicy hamburger and some caviar. Fresh, lovely caviar. The dinner was nice. I head back to my room after the meal was over and concluded my stay in Helsinki, Finland. So the next morning I woke up and headed to the airport. I flew from Helsinki to Copenhagen, again, on that round trip, very inexpensive ticket. When I got to the Helsinki airport, because I'm American Express Platinum member, what did that entitle me to? Priority Pass lounges. I went into that lounge, had some breakfast, a few drinks, light beverage, decided to head over my flight. It was a quick 1-hour flight from Helsinki to Copenhagen. Now I had a 2 or 3 hour layover in Copenhagen, giving me some time to do some last minute shopping. And guess what else? There was another lounge. After I did my shopping, I used my priority pass that I get for free through my platinum card, sat back, relaxed, did some wine tasting, and really enjoyed myself. Got on my plane and flew back. This was by far one of the most amazing trips I've ever had. Yes, I came in under $3,000. I think if I had to be exact, somewhere around $2,642 is what I spent on this trip. And I saw beautiful things. I met fantastic people. I traveled in luxury in a way that I never have before. And I feel like I'm getting motivated to do more travel just like that. I wish I had known about these travel benefits before. I wish I had known just how invigorating it could be to travel by yourself sometime. I still want to travel with people. I like people. But being free and traveling by yourself and maintaining a budget, it just made me feel amazing. So thank you so much for taking this time to watch my first vlog. Not my last, but my first. And please check me out again and subscribe. And I'm sure I'll have some more interesting videos to come that hopefully you'll enjoy.